Welcome everybody for another Company Field 3cast. This time it's me here, Blob, here playing as the DAK, and I play against a British Forces player. And I would like to use this replay as an extension of my Blob series, which I unintentionally started lately. This is because I recently saw many posts on Reddit, for instance, about the issue that there is a lot of blobbing and that several people have no idea how to deal with blobs. And I have to point out that at the moment, it's true, blobs certainly are a little bit overperforming. However, I think that should not be that a big deal. Especially since I also would like to point out that blobbing is indeed quite a, let's say it's a tactic that has its place, actually, because for instance, if you're seeing a sniper, so your enemy is playing a sniper or a early light vehicle, stuff like that, that's really bleeding your manpower, then sometimes it's a good idea to just build a huge blob, force the respective unit away, so that it's just, for instance, the sniper is just retreating more than it's taking out your models, and afterwards you can do the capping, stuff like that. Same applied for instance, the OKW in Company Furious 2. So as soon as you saw the Storm Pioneer, you wanted to have like 2 or 3 squads that were able to force the Storm Pioneer back effectively, so that it was not too strong in the early game. Afterwards, you would have been doing the capping. So blobs are not generally a bad idea to do or to use. However, sometimes if the enemy is using blobs a little bit too much, then we should be aware of what we can do about it. And now let's see what both players are doing. I always see that the UK Forces player is doing something really well. So he used the outer circles of the capture points to capture his territories, which effectively is saving him some time. And now I'm instantly retreating because this squad is quite lonely, and he is fighting against 2 zappers, and the British zappers is something you would not like to mess with. Alright, now there's the drawback of the capture of a oh, help me out! I'm missing. I'm lacking the expression of the tactic of capturing with the outer circles of the victory points or the capture points generally, because this is taking a little bit more of micro. So usually I prefer to use follow-up commands. However, when you're doing that, then you can't use the outer areas of the capture points. Okay, enough for that. Now he has to retreat with his zappers because these are obviously for close combat, and the Panzer III are for long range. At the same time, we are seeing, by the way, that my enemy is playing quite a standard build so far. So he is going he opened with 2 zappers and 2 riflemen already, and I assume that he most likely will go for a 3rd rifleman, won't he? Oh no, he's going for an MG. Okay, that's fair against the DAK sometimes, because many DAK players tend to perform a Pioneer spam at the moment because the Panzer Grenadiers are underperforming at the moment. And it's certainly not a good idea to play the DAK like I am doing it in this match, because I am heavily relying on a Panzer Grenadier build, and that is maybe because I'm a little bit stubborn with it. Actually, most of you may know that I don't like the early release meta, and I especially don't like to abuse it when it's becoming cheesy. And this is why I don't play the Pioneers of the DAK too much, because I think these guys should not be your mainline infantry. The Panzer Grenadiers actually are intended to be mainline infantry, and this is why I try to practice the Panzer Grenadier play a little bit, even though it's not a good idea at the moment. Anyway, I also would like to point out that for the UK forces, actually, I think, I mean, it is too strong at the moment to play double zappers and the 3 or 4 sections with boys rifles, of course. However, at the same time, I would say that is not too cheesy, because, I mean, even after balance patches, I think the UK forces or the British forces actually are about to be played like that. Yeah, because I mean the sections are the mainline infantry of the British forces, so just play them, that's fine. Okay, now we see the first minor blob. And we already see the first thing that you can do against blobbing. Yeah? So 4 of his squads actually are now busy to fight me in the center of the map, and this just leaves me space to cap the rest of the map. Like over here, I used my bicycle to cap the viewpoint over here, and I'm capping the map down here. Unfortunately, I'm using 2 squads for capping, but I think I'm aware of this issue and separate them. In the meantime, I try to use as few units as I can to keep the blob being busy with just using garrisoned units. Okay, now I retreated the bicycle from the northern side of the map, drove like this way to cap this area of the map. And we see the 2.5 ton cargo truck. Is it called like that? Oh no, it's the medical convoy. No, whatever. I have no idea how it's called. The truck. We see the truck carrying the mortar, which actually is another meta play of the UK forces player. So most likely we'll convert that to a medical truck and use the mortar, of course, for doing mortar stuff. And yeah. I think this is pretty much what most people on Reddit are complaining about at the moment. British players using, let's say, a standard UK forces build or British forces build, and just clump up all their units within a huge blob and use this truck with a medical conversion to reinforce the blob in field and heal the blob in the field as well. And again, I have to admit that is a strong tactic. However, I think I noticed that, and this is why I went for an early MG as well. Because some people actually have the opinion that MGs are not that worth it at the moment in Company Furious 3, and I have to admit that some MGs indeed are a little bit weak. Still, I think MGs are a valuable option to counter blobs, because I mean, certainly they do pin units. They could be a little bit stronger, however, they have their place already, I guess. So yeah, MGs are the way to go. Okay, now he's capping back the map, and I think, even though he was blobbing, he isn't even having that a bad map control so far during the entire game actually, and it could become a little bit dangerous because now he's having an MG, a sturdy mainline infantry, as well as 2 sappers, one of them with a flamethrower and a mortar, which is quite strong. However, I'm having the heal as well, a fast capping unit, that is good. And my mainline infantry is not too weak because actually oh, look at that, the MG. Or you could try to outrun an MG, engage from several directions, and I mean, one of your squads certainly will get pinned. However, now still 2 squads are left to engage the MG. The zappers have to retreat. It's nice. I overextended with them a little bit too much. They should have been engaging way earlier. Still, I think the MG has to retreat. Not the very best engagement. I could have been planning them that better. However, what I wanted to say is that I already have the 6-man conversion for the Panzer Grenadiers, which is at the same time making them harder to hit, and the motorcycle is doing quite sturdy capping job. And now I see, okay, the majority of his troops are over here, so I think very soon I will try to cap down here and maybe even cap with the MG. Because actually it could be a good idea, even though the MG is not backed up at the moment, to place it over here, to engage the mortar while capping, because I more or less know about the entire enemy army at the moment. Alright. So the map control is more or less even. That's nice. And I think soon I'm ready for getting the first call in. Am I? Okay, I'm going for the assault grenadiers. Usually I prefer going for the anti-tank gun using this build, because I got the fire support elements conversion of the T2. No, T1 actually. And this enables me to call in the Panzer 38. However, I thought at the moment, okay, the UK Forces player is heavily relying on infantry. Thus, maybe it's a better idea to go for the assault grenadiers. However, now I'm wasting my 250, and hopefully, yeah, the assault grenadiers survive. So that was a misplay of me. But at the same time, maybe now it's time to choose a doctrine, or a battle group, how it's called in Company Furious 3 now. Usually I would like to pick the armored support now to make use of the wreck over here, because I can grant 5 fuel out of it. At the same time, maybe I didn't pick it so far because I thought, alright, he's pretty much occupying the center of the map, so it's very unlikely that I safely can salvage this wreck. Oh, look at the nice range of the mortar. Yeah, okay, so I think we pretty much see the, yeah, let's say the standard way of fighting with the British force at the moment. The medic truck is following the main army of the British forces player, so that he can heal up and reinforce. However, at the moment, as you can see, it's not too useful actually, because I mean it's not healing, because these troops actually are in combat. Ooh, retreat. Damage is done, or was done. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's the strength of this of these trucks. They can reinforce support weapons. So yeah, it's strong. I have to admit that. Ooh, no! I remember this situation. I was a little bit upset that a motorcycle was driving this way. Pathfinding was a little bit annoying. Yeah, this is quite a dangerous engagement. Shouldn't have been doing that, because I mean, I have the MG over here, but it's not enough to back up my flamer bio, obviously. Yeah, and the map control is swapping around. Sometimes I'm keeping the north, sometimes I'm keeping the south. Actually, at the moment I am having both of the views. That's nice, because these are 10 times views, so that's yeah, a lot of fuel actually. And I'm already building the T4, because I thought, okay, against the UK forces with, let's say, 3 or 4 sections with the boys rifles, it's not a good idea to go for the light and medium vehicles of the DAK, because they are dead within a matter of seconds. However, actually, he decided to go for 2 Bren rifles. I like that decision quite a lot, because it's I believe it's a little bit stronger than just spamming boys. And maybe he even noticed that I am not going for the light vehicles of the DAK, like pizza tank spam, stuff like that. So, pretty good choice of the UK forces player. However, in the meantime, I mean, we see his entire army is located over here, and that let me the freedom to gives me the freedom to recap the rest of the map. He's not even he was not even able to recap his side of the map at the moment, so Oh, the MG decrewed the mortar. Oh, that is what I talked about earlier. So since I noticed that the mayor army of him is over here, an MG would not have had that much impact with this engagement, because most likely the mortar would have been just killing it, as well as the two Bren guns, Bren gun carriers. I thought, okay, let the MG engage over here and kill the mortar, because every time the mortar is firing, it refuels itself, and yeah, that worked actually. MG is already having 10 kills, so pretty effective. That's another thing I would like to point out. Never lose your units, of course. And on the other hand, try to play your MGs aggressively. So the UK Forces player is doing that. He's playing the MG quite well. And I'm doing that as well. So I try to not just camp around with my MG. Ooh, that is bad. I have to insta-retreat. This squad could be dead. Oh, it's dead, definitely. This blob is way too strong. Okay, that was bad. However, now you see, blobs easily get pinned by MGs. You see, that this just, yeah, that's just huge. The MG is completely shutting down this blob. Now it's fighting, however, the fighting capabilities of the blob are a little bit hampered at the moment. He reinforced the MG real quick. Pretty strong. Oh no, another waste. Oh, that is really bad. I should have been retreating earlier. I mean, the fight was not even too bad in the very first few seconds. However, then I just decided to waste my Panzer grenadier. However, still, I think I got the message across that it's quite strong to use MGs versus blobs, even though your enemy is having a mortar. So keep that in mind. Blobs are not uncounterable. They are strong, certainly, and they require a little bit less of skill, maybe, than spreading your army and micro every unit by itself. However, at the same time, I think blobs can be punished quite severely, as we will see later on. Yeah, now he's using his medical truck to let these units engage a little bit faster, so that he can cap the map faster. So actually quite a nice play of him. Or her, we don't know. However, now I am having my Panzer III. Let's see whether I can waste it, because wasting units is one of my main abilities, let's say. Okay, I mean the dingo is dead. That's not too bad. Maybe I could have been killing the truck. However, I think it's a better idea to just retreat. I killed the dingo, that's fair. Let's retreat and heal the Panzer III up before we do more damage. Because I mean, at the moment I'm not in a pretty good spot, because I lost huge amounts of my army. I even lost my MG. Didn't it retreat? I thought it retreated. Well, apparently it's dead. Oh, that's bad. Okay. So, actually, the UK Forces player is in a pretty good spot at the moment, and he should engage a little bit more, actually. Maybe he didn't even notice that I am that weak at the moment, or he is a little bit afraid of the Panzer III. Could be. I mean, even though he's having the anti-tank gun and the boys rifles, yeah, I think the Panzer III is still a viable choice to deal some manpower bleeds. Is that expressed correctly? I have no idea, actually. Blob here is doing German language magic again. Oh, he's not even dodging the nades. Yeah, okay. Nice. Now I have to retreat. Okay. And the medical truck will die, most likely. However, that was a little bit too ambitious, because the Panzer III already took an engine damage. Or a damaged engine. Ooh, I have to fall back a little bit more. it's a dangerous spot. Yeah, however, interestingly, he decided to not use his entire army. I think if he would have been engaging with his entire army to fight this fight over here, maybe it could have been killing the Panzer III. I mean, on the other hand, maybe I would have been engaging that aggressively then. However, no, don't know. I think it would have been the better idea to use all the units. I mean, most of his units are just standing around AFK. So maybe that's a drawback of him. So maybe he's not having that a good micro, and that is most likely the reason why he's not using his entire army when he's not actually using a big blob. So yeah. On the other hand, I mean, he already played very well. For instance, the MG, even though it's not having that many kills. But at the same time, he's playing it actively, and I like that. And yeah, and now he's using his anti-tank gun since he is aware of the Panzer III engaging over here. But it's the second Panzer III already. Isn't that nice? I already am having the imaginary repair kits upgrade, which is increasing the health and repair capabilities of the vehicles I am using. Oh. But at the same time, I'm just wasting them. Okay, so we see both players are a little bit tired already. No, but that is just to spice up the match a little bit. Oh. Could they maybe die? Oh no, I think they're coming away. Yeah. And I have to retreat. Ooh, are these guys coming away? Yes, but I think they will. Okay, that's nice. Alright, it's just one Panzer IV left. Panzer III, actually. And I am suffering a huge manpower bleed. It's so bad. I decided to... no, it's actually no manpower bleed. I just decided to really go for these two upgrades. Maybe not the very best idea, because I could have been pumping out another Panzer III already, so... or maybe another Panzer Grenadier squad. I think that's a mistake. Shouldn't have been going for the tungsten core ammunition now, but instead going for some more mainline infantry, actually. However, I think, due to the fact that 4 or 5 minutes ago I wasted my MG over here, as well as the Panzer Grenadier with the LMG upgrade and the Flamethrower Pioneer, I think I was a little bit losing track at this very moment, and yeah, that confused me. And I think this was the reason why I did some severe mistakes. But I remember that at this very moment of the match I was thinking about, alright, I mean, he's always keeping his army together, and I already performed some nice map capping and made use of his blobs. At the same time, I lost some units and took some severe squad wipes, which was actually really bad for me, due to the blob. So actually the blob was a little bit a drawback for him, map control wise, but at the same time he managed to give me some squad wipes using the blob. So maybe I was a little bit annoyed by myself that I was not actually, yeah, paying as much attention as I should have been paying to the blobs and to my single squads, so that they don't get wiped all the time. And I think most likely that's the reason why I did some severe follow-up mistakes earlier. However, what I wanted to say is, at this very moment of the match, I was just thinking about, okay, I mean, we can deal with that. It's just a matter of a blob, so what can we do about it? And I thought, okay, I need a Stuka zu Fuß. But this time I thought, okay, I'm not strong enough to defend my Stuka zu Fuß. So maybe just go for another Panzer III. This time try to really care for your units, concentrate, focus at the game once more, and try to just save manpower, so that I can get out the Stuka zu Fuß. And as soon as I will be having the Stuka zu Fuß, I guess I'm about to win this match. That was the intention or the thoughts of mine over here. I mean, the map control still is pretty neat, even though my army is weak, and he's having everything he wants to have, actually. I mean, he's having a Gurkha, 5 sections, 6 sections, sorry, 6 sections, 6 sections, a Gurkha, and a Pioneer, so maybe one of his Pioneers got wiped, an anti-tank gun, and a mortar, so incredibly strong army. Yeah, and he's forming 2 blobs. One blob is a little bit more for anti-tank, so this is this blob over here, because he's having 2 anti-tank guns or boys rifles, and the other blob with a little bit less anti-tank rifles, boys rifles, is backed up with the anti-tank gun. Ooh, yeah, but the Panzer IIIs are already doing a great job in performing some manpower drain. Ooh, okay, this is about to die, isn't it? Maybe the anti-tank. Ooh, the anti-tank gun didn't focus the low Panzer III. Alright, this boy could actually escape. Another Panzer III got wiped. However, now I thought, okay, that's all pretty shitty. I really have to go for the Stuka zu Fuß next, because otherwise I'm not having any chance. I mean, I recapped. Oh no, I didn't recap my my MG. However, I kept his MG. Is he having an MG now? Don't think so. Maybe my MG died inside of this building. Now I'm having it. Nice. And I'm having a Stuka zu Fuß, so I think tides will turn now. Yeah, and once more I have to point out that, I mean, this certainly is the blob meter everybody is talking about, and certainly it's not... It's a little bit easier to use than other strategies, actually. Combined arms, stuff like that. However, at the same time, he is using combined arms as well. So the enemy is not actually fighting badly. So he's doing a good job in controlling his army. And this is just made a little bit stronger due to the fact that he's just having so much infantry, just blobbing around a little bit at the same time. Okay, yeah. Okay, now this is the first final engagement. Little bit dangerous, yeah. I'm going back a little bit with my Stuka zu Fuß, but now it's firing because I know, okay, there's this medical truck. Okay, 1 wipe with first Stuka shot already. It's 2 wipes. 2 wipes and a dead medical truck. So I think that is the... Yeah. That's it. That's how you can deal with blobs. I mean, we saw a blob of 3 sections over here, backed up with the medical truck. And it got so severely punished by the Stuka zu Fuß. Incredible. Early we saw that the MG is doing a pretty decent job in shutting down the blobs. It did it twice in the match earlier, which was not even too bad. And now we see that the Stuka zu Fuß is your late game option for killing blobs. It's veteran C1 already, and 11 kills, 11 infantry killed, And one vehicle destroyed. Yeah, that's a Stuka zu Fuß. Yeah, Panzer IIIs actually are also not that a bad idea to use against blobs because, and we no see the MG still is good choice to counter blobs because I mean it's shutting down the blob again. The Panzer III is doing the manpower drain because every time you are clumping up your units, and a Panzer is shooting right in the middle of your blob. Not just one model is dying, but 3 or maybe even 5 at once, and this is just huge. So you see, blobbing certainly is not a good idea always. So yeah, now he's losing his anti-tank gun. Oh yeah, and he already lost the other anti-tank gun. So now I don't remember whether I noticed this advantage. Oh, okay. Stuka zu Fuß is missing a little bit. Never mind. Since I think I noticed that the anti-tank guns went down, and thus I'm engaged a little bit more aggressively. Ooh, yes, and I think the second blob of him is just about to die because the assault grenadiers, oh yes, they are throwing their nades. Oh god, yes, and with 2 Panzer IIIs, this blob is certainly dead. Yep, and he dropped off the game. So, yeah, that was everything we needed to see over here. First, the MGs just allowed me to just survive into the late game because the MGs. Or the first MG I built actually shut down a blob from this direction over here, and the blob was located over here. And the second time I think it was located within the victory point and shut down the blob which was engaging from over here. So MGs are a good idea against blobbing, even though they are not in green cover. I mean, British Forces player, that's true, can use their rifle grenades against MGs, and that's certainly a threat. However, when you are aware of the position of the enemy blob and you are able to assemble your MG before the blob is engaging, then usually the blob will be pinned before, and the pinnage is making the circle or the range of the rifle grenade smaller, and that ultimately leads to the blob not being able to fire at your MG with the rifle grenades. Yeah, and the second step of countering blobs actually is to use armor like Panzer IIIs or yeah, I mean, it's pretty much a good idea to go for 8-Rad armored cars. However, I try to avoid this play because I'm pretty sure that this will be nerfed in the future, and I just want to try out other playstyles actually. And the Panzer IIIs are pretty good when you gave them all the upgrades. So the vehicle survival package and the emergency repair kits, as well as the tungsten core armor, ammunition, are buffing the Panzer IIIs so that they are incredibly good. They can fight Shermans and Churchills and Blobs. Yeah, so the second step for countering Blobs I would recommend is to build vehicles that actually can fire in the middle of a blob with AoE damage, so that like 4 or 5 models die with every single shot. And the last step, of course, is to use your, where is it? Yeah, here. To use your walking Stuka. I mean, as you just saw with this engagement over here, the walking Stuka just killed 2 squads entirely, as well as the medical truck over here, and it did 11 kills within the first few shots it fired. So it's incredibly strong in killing blobs. The same applies, of course, for the Wehrmacht. There you can build the Nebelwerfer. You can build even stronger heavy machine guns, so they are even more capable of shutting down blobs. And yeah, you can build the Panzer IV, which is a little bit stronger than the Panzer III. So I think the same mechanics I presented you in this replay, or with this replay, applies or apply for the Wehrmacht as well. And for all the other fractions as well. I mean, with the if you, for instance, are playing against a let's say a Wehrmacht player, and he's let's say playing the breakthrough doctrine and is spamming grenadiers with MP40, for instance, and he is forming a huge blob and engaged you and is just steamrolling with this huge MP40 blob. Then I think it's a good idea to go for a Wickers and just bend them down and have fun. Then you go for Stuart, for instance, or a Crusader, and start shooting inside of the blob and killing 5 models with every shot, causing the enemy to suffer from manpower bleeds. And then, yeah, I mean, certainly it's a good idea to go for the heavy mortar with the British force or the UK forces, because it's resembling the Stuttgart zu Fuß impact a little bit. And for the US forces, I mean, of course, there's the Sherman Whizbang, which is a available option to shoot into blobs. The US forces also have an MG, which is, yeah, maybe not the strongest. Actually, however, I think it's strong enough to deal with blobs. And another thing that we didn't see in this replay is just planting mines. I mean, that is not that a good option for this DIK build, because you need to use your ammunition to upgrade your Panzer Grenadiers with the LMGs. I think that is quite important. And you need a flamer for your Pioneers as well. Then you have to be careful not losing all your units, of course. And just as you managed to get all the upgrades and stuff like that, then you may plant mines, in my opinion, at the moment. When you're playing off meta, of course. I mean, if you're playing just the meta DIK build with building some Panzer Pioneers and upgrade them with flamethrowers, then these upgrades are way cheaper, because they just cost 50 ammunition, and you will be having plenty of ammunition left to build mines, and you have enough Pioneers to do so. So actually that's a way better build for the DIK at the moment, by the way. Yeah, but planting mines is another very good way to deal with blobs, because if a blob is hitting a mine, then up to, let's say, yeah, maybe if it's a blob of, let's say, 6 squads, then up to 12 models will die instantly, and the blob will be pinned for, I guess, 5 seconds or so. And yeah, this is huge. And then a mortar can fire at the blob, or Stuttgart zu Fuß, stuff like that. So use MGs, use Stuttgart zu Fuß or indirect fire, use tanks, use mines, and if nothing is helping you, then just use a counter blob. And with that, let's say GG, well played British player, that was really, really well. And with that, let's have a good time. See you.
Till 59.